How you doing, YouTube? I wanted to make this video because I had the misfortune of watching a movie called Why Did I Get Married? It was a movie by um, Tyler Perry, and I don't make a lot of these movies or these videos, and but for this issue, I feel compelled to make a video because you know, basically the plot of this movie is summed up pretty simple in pretty simple terms. But I think three or four couples go out for kind of like a little vacation. Youngish black couples, they go to stay at a cabin for a weekend, and basically, there's some conflict within these relationships and some turmoil, and a couple of these relationships are, almost toward their end, and they kind of, the plot is more or less, everyone basically works things out in the end. As I was sitting there watching the movie, and I was watching it with a few friends, and you know, I have to tell you, what a condescending, insulting movie. The way that Mr. Perry wrote those characters and the script, and the way that they interacted with each other was absolutely the worst, most stereotypical, exploitative piece of black work that I've seen in a while. I mean, this is, I haven't seen anything like that since the 70s, with black exploitation, like, Black Dynamite, Dolomite. I mean, those kinds of movies where, where they weren't even being subtle about it. I mean, but at least then there was this, there was an understanding by the movie makers, then the producers, that, hey, they were making movies that exploited black stereotypes. They admitted it, they acknowledged it, but it was a working model of the times. But what Mr. Perry here is doing, I think he is a little bit more nefarious, because he is doing it in the context, well, no, I'm not exploiting black stereotypes. I'm just making a representation of what it is like to be black, what is, the typical black experience. And as a black person, I can tell you, I have nothing in common with these people that either in this movie or in his shows or in his plays. I grew up in a black family, in more or less an urban area in Oakland, California, and I can tell you, our experience is nothing like that. Been around black people my whole life. I've never been around black people or a black couple that, in the heat of a discussion at the dinner table, surrounded by other people, would make jokes about passing venereal disease back and forth to one another. He did that. He actually did that. That was a part of the movie. He did that. Blew me away that he would do that. And I just want to say, I've heard, Mr. Perry respond to critics, people who are saying things along these lines, and he's basically exploiting stereotypes. I mean, let's just keep it real. He's doing that to make himself rich. And I've heard him defend this by saying, well, every time, black people, one of us, it's the whole crab in the barrel argument. Every time one of us, does well, the rest of us got to pull the other ones down. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of successful black people who, who enjoy, widespread acceptance for their work and for their art within the black community. The difference here is Mr. Perry is exploiting a situation where black exploitation in the media and negative black depictions in the media has been a problem for generations. Whereas in depictions of black people in the media has done serious harm to black people. It has made life very difficult. And I think about the people, in the civil rights movement, Dr. King and Malcolm X, and you know, all the people who marched and all the people who, you know, had the dog sicked on them. I mean, this is the kind of thing they were fighting against. And now here we are, you know, we got a black president in 2012, and the number one successful black director and movie producer, TV producer, is a man who exploits negative black stereotypes about our relationships, the way we interact with each other, you know, to the almost shamelessly. I mean, there seems to be no boundaries for what he's willing to exploit, and the way, and it's not just black men that he depicts in a negative light, although he goes out of his way to make us all seem like shiftless sexual deviants who can't be trusted. He does it to black women too. Loud, ignorant, irrational, and perpetual victims. He does it to them too. And you know, and to have, you know, to have him, you know, say, I quote, you know, black people get educations, they run away from who they are. They should stay grounded in who they are, as to suggest that, you know, by being loud and ignorant and irrational, that's our roots. That's who we are. You know, that is us being true to ourselves. And I find that to be extraordinarily insulting. That's his response to critics of his work. I mean, all be to him, he's made a lot of money doing it. You know, he's been successful doing what he does. You know, but if he thinks he should just get a unanimous high five from the black community just based on the fact that he makes money doing what he does, I'm sorry, no, that's not how it works. That's not how our world works. A lot of things in this world make money and are bad for you. Cigarettes, cocaine, alcohol, heroin, all make a lot of money. You know, they're harmful to you. They'll actually kill you if you do too much of it. So just by the simple act of being wealthy or making money does not define virtue. It does not define virtue. It's how you got there. How did you get that money? And how Mr. Perry is doing it is he is exploiting black stereotypes that were created out of Jim Crow, created out of segregation, created out of racism, and created out of slavery. He's exploiting all of the worst attributes from generations of disenfranchisement, generations of injustice, and generations of separate but equal. He is exploiting all of the stereotypes that supporters of Jim Crow, supporters of racist laws would use to propagate their positions. They would use things like black men are sexual deviants, that black men are lazy and shiftless. They would use these as means to justify their ideologies. And now in the 21st century with a black president, we have a black man who is defending using these very same ideas on TV to make money. I don't watch Mr. Perry's shows, but I've seen, you know, like the commercials or whatever, Medea this and whatever that, and some of his plays where, you know, I mean, it's simple. It's so simplistic. It's so unsophisticated. There's no depth to the characters, no depth to the relationships. It's just superficial. It's just such a sad, and it's no wonder why we have no real role models in the media, because Mr. Perry has given the impression that what he's doing is a workable model. Why change it? Why change it? And black people, the only way we can change it is to turn his garbage off. Peace.